April season is almost here for Marvel Snap. We've got confirmation on what's going to be in spotlight caches for this month, as well as a sneak peek at what potentially is coming in May, thanks to Dataminers. Let's go ahead and jump right into it and break down what are the best weeks to spend your most valuable resources for Marvel Snap. Our first spotlight cache for April, running the 2nd through the 9th, contains new Direct to Series 5 card, the Red Hulk, returning Series 5 card Sebastian Shaw, and returning Series 4 card Echo. This Spotlight Cache week, a fairly strong 4 out of 5 star rating. Both of our returning cards this week are very playable inside of their niches, with Sebastian Shaw being a must-have for anyone looking to enjoy Silver Surfer in Marvel Snap, and Echo headlining some B-tier decks like Cerebro 2 or the Bass Disruptive decks that I enjoy, while also doubling as a tech guard for ongoing heavy metagames, such as we've seen when Miss Marvel released or when Professor X was a dominant card. While Red Hulk is obviously speculative since I haven't played with the card yet, I think it's frequently going to be 15 or even 19 points worth of power, likely making it a very playable 6 energy stat stick. Our next Spotlight Cache, running from April 9th through the 16th, contains US Agent as a new Direct to Series 5 card, Mirage as a returning Series 4 card, and Jeff the Baby Landshark as a returning Series 5 card. This Spotlight Cache gets a fairly weak 2 out of 5 stars for me, with those points largely coming from the fact that Jeff the Baby Landshark is one of the best 2 energy cards in Marvel Snap that you can play in a ton of different places. Not only is it a generically good 2 energy card, but it also has synergy with things that move, or Kraven, or Elsa, to make it a card that you can build your deck around a little bit as well. The other 2 cards in the Spotlight Cache leave a bit to be desired, in my opinion. Mirage is a replacement level card, meaning if you see a deck list that contains her, you can easily swap her out for something like Sentinel or Cable at the same energy cost with a similar effect, and let that deck list continue to function reasonably well. She's also a Series 4 card, meaning if you skip on the Spotlight Cache not getting her, you can pick her up for 3,000 collector's tokens at a future date. US Agent is yet to be released, but I think my opinion on this card is kind of low overall, meaning it likely doesn't add a ton of value to the spotlight to begin with. Moving along to our third April Spotlight Cache, running from the 16th through the 23rd, we have Red Guardian as a new Series 5 card, we have Lady Deathstrike as a returning Series 4 card, and we have High Evolutionary, a big bad perpetually Series 5 card. This Spotlight Cache gets a fairly strong 4 out of 5 star rating for me. I think Red Guardian is very likely to be a new must-have tech card. It interacts with a whole slew of cards that have existed in Marvel Snap for a long time that haven't had clean answers, and you're not really going to be able to replace him cleanly with anything else that currently exists in the game, because his effect is just unique and powerful and brand new to the game. High Evolutionary is a card that's been higher on tier lists and lower over the course of its life cycle, but it completely defines whatever deck it's contained in, meaning if you see a high Evo deck, you can't just sub him out easily for something else. He's also not going to be a card that you can ever wait and get cheaper. He's never going to downgrade to Series 3 or 4. I mean, you're going to have to open him in a cache like this one, or spend 6,000 collector's tokens to gain access to his effect. Lady Deathstrike's definitely the reason this cache week only gets 4 out of 5 stars and not a perfect score. She's only Series 4, and she's only ever played in fringe/B tier things, while occasionally showing up in better decks like Destroy. Definitely not a must-have card, but you also get to play some fun games with her if you open her along the way to the other 2 Series 5 cards that you'll find this week, I think. Our next Spotlight Cache, running from April 23rd through April 30th, contains the White Widow as a new Series 5 card, Nico Minoru as a returning Series 5 card, and Snowguard as a returning Series 4 card. This Spotlight Cache gets my strongest rating in today's video yet, at 4.5 out of 5 stars. Nico Minoru is a fantastically fun, powerful, and flexible card that offers you an incredible range of utility with her 7 different spells. Any deck list you try and substitute or cut her from that wants to play her is going to be much worse for wear, because there is no other card in Marvel Snap that comes close to offering the utility that Nico Minoru does. Speculatively, I expect White Widow to be a reasonable 2 energy card, either offering 6 points worth of stats or being able to clutter up your opponent's board in key spots by filling a lane that they would otherwise like to leave open for the last and most important turn of the game. Finally, Snowguard is a must-have card if you're interested in playing in Loki deck. She's also something that I personally like playing in Bounce. Her Series 4 status is the reason that this Spotlight Cache loses half a star in my ratings, but overall, she is the third of 3 likely very playable cards you could be opening for this week. Our final Spotlight Cache for the April season runs from the 30th through May 7th. It contains Valentina as a new Series 5 card, Blob as a returning Series 5 card, and Null as a returning Series 4 card. This Spotlight Cache week gets our first perfect 5 out of 5 score in today's video for a few different reasons. To start, both our returning cards this week are contained in metagame powerhouses. Null sees play in Destroy and Blob inside of Thanos and Ramp decks. Null also sees play in some other fringe B-list decks such as Mr. Negative. Both of these cards have unique and powerful effects that don't make them easily replaceable in any deck list that is looking to leverage them, meaning if you swap them out, the deck is going to be markedly worse for wear. Our new card this week, Valentina, is also likely to be stellar in my opinion. I would wager she's going to be best in slot for 2 energy cards that generate another card in your hand, making her an easy include in decks like Loki, but I think she has a good chance she's just a generically powerful card as well, since the range of 6 energy cards that she can generate is going to give you a lot of cube equity in Marvel Stack because your opponent's not going to know exactly what they need to be playing around. Up until this point in the video, all of the contents have been confirmed by Second Dinner and are guaranteed to be what I have shown. Moving forward, as we look speculatively into the May Spotlight Cache weeks, I would like to iterate that all of the future Spotlight Caches I'm going to look at now are data-mined information, meaning they are subject to change until we get that official May season announcement from Second Dinner at the end of April. Our first May season cache, running from May 7th through the 14th, contains Nocturne as a new card, Kyaria as a returning Series 5 card, and Selene as another returning Series 5 card. This Spotlight Cache gets a fairly middling rating of 3 out of 5 stars for me, despite tentatively containing all Series 5 cards, because both of our returning ones this week are kind of mediocre. Kyaria sees play in some decks like High Evolutionary with some frequency, but I think you can easily substitute her out for other things like Armor or Cosmo and still have your deck operate to great effect. Selene doesn't really have any competitive homes as I'm recording this video. She does see play in the Galactus Clutter deck with some consistency, but that deck is up and it's down from week to week, and honestly, when I've played that deck myself, Selene often feels quite clunky inside of it. Nocturne, I think, is likely to be the high point for this Spotlight Cache week. I think her effect is one that I personally am very interested in playing, but outside of her, I think the Spotlight Cache leaves a good bit to be desired. Our second Spotlight Cache in May, running from the 14th through the 21st, tentatively contains Sage as a new card, Legion as a returning Series 4 card, and the Living Tribunal as a returning Series 5 card. Going to give the Spotlight Cache a fairly terrible 1 out of 5 star rating, the worst you're going to see in today's video. That low rating also means I think it is most subject to change out of all of the things appearing in May, because they often like to make it so all of these Spotlight Cache weeks are at least somewhat appealing. Legion, while playable, is only a Series 4 card, so opening Spotlight Caches to get him isn't particularly enticing. Living Tribunal is a cornerstone / key piece of a particular archetype that you can't play without it, but it basically also only goes in the Living Tribunal combo deck, so if you're not interested in playing that specific deck, there's not a lot of appeal from that angle either. Sage, as far as new cards go, I would be shocked if she's great. She's just a stat stick that's kind of difficult to enable, and she's one that gets reset by Shadow King in addition to Shang-Chi at that, so I'm not holding my breath in terms of expecting her to be great. Our next May Spotlight Cache runs from the 21st through the 28th and tentatively contains Nomura as a new card, Scar as a returning Series 5 card, and Black Knight as an additional returning Series 5 card. Overall, I'm going to give this Spotlight Cache a tentatively strong rating of 5 out of 5 stars. This week gets a strong rating for a few reasons. The first is not only are Scar and Black Knight Series 5, but they're also cards that tend to headline the decks that they are contained in, meaning the deck has multiple deck building choices to enable these cards, and you typically can't substitute them without making whatever deck you're looking at considerably weaker. Finally, Nomura, I think, has potential as a new card release. She stands to put 15 points worth of power into play for 5 energy if her conditions are met, which is a stat line that's nothing to be scoffed at, especially since it gets spread out across the board, making it less vulnerable to Marvel Snap's powerful tech cards. Our final Spotlight Cache to review in this video runs from May 28th through June 4th. It tentatively contains Sasquatch as a new card release, Havoc as a returning Series 4 card, and Ravonna Renslayer as another returning Series 4 card. Overall, I have to give the Spotlight Cache sadly a weak rating of just 2 out of 5 stars. Both of the returning cards are Series 4 this week, and Havoc is arguably one of the worst cards in Marvel Snap, despite me personally enjoying him a ton. Ravonna is definitely a unique effect that I would be happy to add to my collection if I didn't already have her, but as is always the case with Series 4 cards in these Spotlight Caches, you can also just pick her up for 3,000 collector's tokens when things allow for you that way. Sasquatch could obviously be a potentially playable new card, but pulling for anything that just might be good, especially when Havoc might be something that you pick up along the way, just doesn't have a lot of appeal in my opinion. I like to close out these Spotlight Cache review videos by talking about the things that are notably absent from the next couple of months of Spotlight Caches, meaning they are excellent choices for you to spend your collector's tokens on, so that'll be the only way you can acquire these cards over the next couple of months. The cards I'm about to review are uniquely powerful and are not replaceable in any deck you see them contained in if you expect that deck to operate at nearly the same power level. To start with, we have Zabu as a Series 4 card, meaning it costs 3,000 collector's tokens. Any deck playing 2 or more 4 energy cards often wants access to Zabu, as being able to play double 4 energy cards in the last turn of the game is incredibly powerful. Hope Summers is no longer a season pass card, and she is in Series 5, meaning you can get her for 6,000 collector's tokens. There is no other card in Marvel Snap that generates the amount of energy that she generates on those final turn of the game without a drawback, and if you're interested in playing things like Silver Surfer, I expect her to be a mainstay in that archetype moving forward. Mobius, and Mobius is a Series 4 card that's an excellent pickup as a unique tech card that doesn't have anything else in the game that quite fills the same space he does. Proxima Midnight is a Series 5 card that definitely put discard fully onto the map. I expect all competitive discard decks moving forward will want access to this 0 energy 7 power card. Finally, Marvel Snap's biggest bad, the Mad Titan himself, Thanos, is certainly worth picking up unless you're living in some parallel timeline in the future where they finally nerfed him. Cope. As of the recording of this video, Thanos is still great and he's not coming up. And honestly, even if they nerf him, he's a big bad with a unique effect and probably worth picking up anyways for his unique gameplay patterns. Thanks for making it all the way through to the end. Please snap the like button if you enjoyed my breakdown today, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel to not miss any of the excellent Marvel Snap content that I put out here several times per week.